All right, guys, so here's something that we want to cover, and you need to know. Secure Copy Protocol, SCP. So I want to get started right away. Now, when you're transferring data between systems, it's extremely important to preserve integrity and confidentiality. Do I need to say that? Well, yeah. See, there are protocols and procedures to do that, and one of them happens to be Secure Copy Protocol, SCP. Now, this is a method designed to securely pass on digital information. The SCP protocol helps transferring files from a local to a remote host or between two remote hosts. It is a combination of the Remote Copy Protocol, RCP, which is used for transferring files, and Secure Shell Protocol, or SSH, which provides encryption and authentication. So the Secure Copy Protocol, SCP, is therefore a way of transferring files, preserving authenticity and confidentiality. So SCP is installed in places where users connect to download or upload files, and since it is a popular component, it's going to be available for Linux and Windows servers as well as for macOS. So how does it all work? Well, the SCP client can upload files to an SSH server or request files and directories for downloading. Then the server controls if there are security risks and sends all the files that are available to be downloaded. So it's actually necessary to set up an SSH connection between the local host and the targeted host before performing the transfer through this protocol. So in order to do so, it's required to enter the SSH login information or an authorized key for the public key authentication. So once the SSH connection between the two hosts is set up, the SCP client will begin a secure copy process with two different available modes: source mode and sync mode. In source mode, an SCP request in the source mode reads files from the targeted host and then sends them back to the client. Whereas in sync mode, the client sends signals to the remote host indicating that there is input data to be written to the remote host. Well, yeah, there's some potential drawbacks, but there's a number of benefits. The major advantage of Secure Copy Protocol, as we call SCP, is it provides security, right? The file transfer is performed using RCP and SSH, which offers encryption and authentication. SCP keeps the confidentiality of the data being transferred by blocking packet sniffers from extracting valuable information from any of those data packets. But the major drawback to SCP is that it can only transfer files, so it's not as complete a process as other protocols. But that being said, it should be taken into account that it can transfer files faster than SFTP protocols, which is widely considered the successor of SCP as it runs on top of SSH as well. But please, it should be noted that while the Secure Copy Protocol is secure, it is not infallible. So if a shell on the remote side prints out anything for non-interactive sessions, the local SCP process will interpret that output as SCP commands. Now, this can lead to errors, or even worse, the remote shell startup script could be malicious and send an exploit payload instead of the file expected. You follow? Now, on the other hand, in 2018, Harry Sintonen discovered some vulnerabilities in popular SCP implementations, including OpenSSH, which included the possibility of modifying permissions on a directory to overwrite arbitrary files and injecting terminal escape sequences to hide traces. Clever, clever. I'll show you some of the use cases, right, for SCP protocol, because it's straightforward, it's a powerful command, and it provides secure file transfer between hosts. By the way, it uses port 22, and it runs on the session layer. SCP is a native command in most operating systems, like Mac OS, Windows, or Linux. It can be found by simply writing the SCP command in the terminal. So SCP can also be found in common network file transfer applications like PuTTY and Extra PuTTY. The most widely used SCP client is the SCP command prompt. which is pretty much built into most SSH implementations. The SCP command is the safe analog of the RCP command. The SCP protocol must be part of all SSH servers that want to provide the SCP service, just as SCP works as an SCP server as well. Now, let's have a look at a couple of differences here between CP and SCP. You will see that both commands need to have a source and a destination file system location in order to perform a copy operation. But the main difference here is that SCP requires one or both of the locations to be on a remote system. SFTP and FTPS server tools. We've got SolarWinds ServView Managed File Transfer Server, and it offers a free trial. It is a secure FTP server that supports SFTP, FTPS, and FTP for Windows and Linux. There's also Files.com, which is a cloud-based file platform with a built-in FTP and SFTP server. Being based on a remote server, this service is able to offer many more features than a traditional SFTP server. And we've got .crush-FTP, popular secure FTP server and FTPS server tools, so it supports SFTP, FTPS, SCP, and HTTPS. Now, it doesn't matter whether you're just starting out or a supreme expert, there is a common mistake that users might encounter in Linux, and that is the SCP permission denied error. So this message will pop up when a user is trying to transfer encrypted files from one Linux system over to another. So when you run the SCP command, Linux will generate an encrypted copy of a specified file, folder, or directory and deposit that copy to a specified location. The SCP, or secure copy, helps you copy files or folders between two Linux systems, which could be local or remote. Now, most Linux users will run into the SCP permission denied error at some point due to some very simple errors or missteps during the command execution. So here are a few common mistakes that might lead to that and their corresponding solutions. So the top one is you've typed or used an invalid username or password when you're using the command. It could be a typo, you could be just going too fast, whatever. To solve it, you just need to double check the information that you've entered. There's also the file could be in a different location than what the one being specified in the SCP command is, and the SCP command requires you to know where your target files are located. See, otherwise the command won't be able to find them. That's not what it's for. It's very important to check the files have not been moved to another location. Now, another top error reason might be that the file may have restricted read-or-write access, or both. To solve that, well, you can log into the remote directory and check your read-write access. So if your user does not have read-write access to the directory, then the access should be assigned manually. And there's also that your user profile doesn't have ownership over the directory in which you're trying to transfer the file from. Right? So this can be solved with the following command, $sudo chown-r, and that's capital R, username, username, and that's the path to your directory. Got it? That's going to help you. Okay. Now, the SCP is a network protocol. It's based on RCP protocol, which supports file transfers between hosts on a network. Additionally, SCP uses Secure Shell, or SSH, for data transfer and uses the same mechanisms for authentication. And that ensures the authenticity and confidentiality of the data being transferred. And guess what? You've learned all about Secure Copy Protocol, or SCP. I know, you can't wait to get started using it. So go ahead and get started. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video.